Oh, nice. Great to hear from you, Jake. I wasn't sure if you're coming on a little unprepared, but either way, it's absolutely fantastic to have you on the show. Jake, first of all, how have you been enjoying spring training?
Oh, it's been an awesome experience. It's been a little different coming into a new organization, but it's been good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Marlins that you talked about, you're with the Blue Jays. You had a lot of talent there. You're ranked, just being ranked in the top 10 prospects for the Marlins, top 5 for some lists, is a huge feat because the Marlins have pretty much traded most of their guys on their roster. Some people made some jokes, that have made any money at all. But what they're doing is really building up their farm system, and you look to be an outfielder for the future. You have all the tools. You're 21, you're young, and definitely something to watch out for. So what have you noticed from the Marlins this spring training? Anything particular? Have you noticed the talent, the youth that the Marlins have compared to being a part of the Blue Jays? Because I know the Blue Jays had a wealth of talent as well. So what was the kind of biggest changes or biggest differences that you've noticed between the Blue Jays organization and this Marlins organization?
I mean, when you talk in terms of youth, it's kind of the same thing I saw over there with. Like you talked about with that trade, they got a lot of good players in that, and then they had quite a few other trades that brought in a lot of talent. And just out in spring training, it's been fun. Just been getting to know some of those guys like Yelich or Fernandez, and I think there's a lot to be excited about coming up from the farm system over here in Miami.
Yeah, absolutely. Some big prospects. Now, you were part of the big trade. At the time, what were your initial reactions to it being a part of this blockbuster, one of the biggest trades we've seen in the past, well, really in history, honestly, a huge change in the organization for the Blue Jays. They've always had the money, but they kind of went for it. And so now you have a team with the Marlins where they're building from the bottom up again, a new stadium, a new city, and then you have a Blue Jays who are just completely going for it and have many all-stars, different positions. So what were your initial reactions to the trade being part of one that included guys like Jose Reyes? And are you overall content with what happened, or are there some mixed emotions from moving from the Toronto Blue Jays to now the Miami Marlins?
I'm pretty excited for both clubs. I got to know a lot of people over there with the Blue Jays, a lot of good people, and with the club they have over there. That's got to be exciting for them. And coming over to the Marlins, I'm just getting a chance to meet some of these guys and seeing some of the prospects they have coming up and the youth they have in that locker room. It's also a really exciting situation they have over there. And I'm pretty excited about my future and the team's future as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You're a center fielder, so when you're in Toronto, you're kind of looking at they're talking about your ceiling kind of similar to Kobe Rasmus, kind of a 300 type of hitter, has a lot of power potential, 6'4". In 2010, you hit up with the Lugnuts. That's actually a Midwest team, a Midwest league that I will see a lot this year. You hit 320, 27 doubles, 14 home runs. You have speed too, 37 stolen bases. Pretty unbelievable. Now, you were drafted out of high school there. You're not even 21, I don't believe. You turned 21 March 30th, unless this was outdated, and that was last year. That could be as well. But basically, former third-round pick out of Poly High School in Riverside, California. What was it like for you growing up on the West Coast, and how did it affect your game baseball-wise? Were you just able to play all year round? Was that kind of the main thing? And have you noticed a difference in competition out on the West Coast compared to elsewhere? Because I know California is known for having top prospects. So what was it like growing up playing baseball on the West Coast?
It's pretty exciting. We got to play against a lot of good talent out there. We had I want to say number 12 overall pick, Tyler Matzik was out there. I played against him a few times my senior year, and then I think number 5, Matt Hobgood, he went number 5 that year, and I played against him quite a bit. He was actually in my league. So, just talent-wise, it's hard to match that anywhere else in the country as a high school kid coming up, and so I think talent-wise it was awesome. I haven't had a chance to be anywhere else. There's a lot of good players out there, but just it was fun being able to play against that type of talent, day in and day out in high school.
Yeah, absolutely. So you go into the Toronto Blue Jays organization. You spent some years there. Now you're headed to, now you're in Miami, enjoying spring training, making a big name for yourself as one of the top outfield prospects in the game. Where do you see yourself ending up this year? Is it AA? Is that the spot for you? Or do you have any expectations for this season, this upcoming season, on where you're playing and playing expectations-wise? What are your kind of main goals heading in 2013?
Right now, at the moment, I'm not too sure. I got to get healthy first. I mean, I don't know if you heard or not. I got hit in the hand during spring training. Ended up fracturing one of my bones in my hand. So I'm actually getting ready to get back out there here shortly.
Okay. Yeah, I saw the injury. I didn't know if it was still going on. I saw negative on the X-rays. So when that happened, what were your reactions? Did you see this as a serious injury, or did you know that it was only just going to take a few weeks to recover? And what have you been doing rehab-wise to get back out there?
Well, yeah, when it first happened, I didn't think it was anything too bad. It was just a little swollen, a little bruised up, but we ended up getting another X-ray on it, and it showed there was a slight fracture. So, I mean, recovery-wise, just been kind of taking time off it. We've been doing some different type of treatments on it, but just the main thing is just taking time with it, make sure I'm ready to go. Which I mean, it's been feeling great, and should be getting back out there swinging here not too far into the future.
Yeah, you talked about that. You got hit by Trevor Rosenthal. That's gotta hurt. I mean, this guy throws 100 miles an hour. How painful was it to get hit by Trevor Rosenthal? And was that kind of just a downer since, I mean, you've been having a great spring and then that happens? How have you dealt with the injury so far?
You know, hasn't been too bad. There's been a lot of guys that that have been through it, and kind of a lot of the older guys have kind of taken me aside and talked to me with the Marlins, just kind of kept my head up and everything, and so I've been pretty good about it, and kind of taking the time to work on different things that maybe I wouldn't been able to spend as much time on, and so I've been good at working on turning this into a positive, so it's been good.
That's great. Yeah, that's what you got to do, turn it into a positive. Now, the Marlins have a lot of young talent. Catcher Rob Brantley they acquired in a trade. Logan Morrison kind of off and on the organizational front, whether he would get traded or not. Solano was one of those guys that is really standing out. They have the new shortstop, Adini. I'm not going to attempt to pronounce the last name, but a lot of talent there. Plasto Polanco, they signed him. They might have released him. I mean, it's one of those things where their roster is kind of hard to preview the team just because there's so many young guys on the team because they've traded. They went 1 year of signing everyone and making a huge impact, and then they traded. What have you? I know you can't really talk, too much about the organization that would stir controversy, but just as a player, how have you dealt with noticing the organizational, how they're going with what they've been doing, and were you upset with some of the news that they made? Obviously, bringing you can't be too upset with that, but were you upset seeing them kind of committing to a guy for 6 years and then just trading them after a year? I mean, do you see that as the way an organizational should be run, or do you think this is kind of a positive thing? The team really has gathered a lot of young talent and should be competitive for years to come.
Yeah, I mean, I can't comment too much on how I'd run an organization. That's not my place. But yeah, I mean, just what they've done over here. I mean, you can't see it from the outside, but being within and seeing kind of the team unity and the way the young guys have been growing together, it's been something special. It's been fun to be a part of, and I mean, I don't see it being too long in the future to where the Marlins are back to competing. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's fun to see. Hopefully, Miami can work out as a baseball city. I mean, we all know the basketball, and you know what? If I lived in Miami, I would obviously go to the baseball games. I'm pretty much just a baseball fan when it comes to that. But the starting rotation, there's some questions whether Ricky Nolasco is going to be traded. They have a lot of talent with Alvarez acquired in a trade, Nathan Eovaldi acquired in the Dodgers deal with Hanley Ramirez, who now is hurt a little bit, Jacob Turner, who was kind of projected to be the ace of the Tigers. So you're looking at this talent in the starting rotation, and there's a lot of potential. Every starter has a ton of potential. This year is going to be a big growing year for all those guys. For you, what has it been like being a part of spring training, noticing the work ethics of guys like, Mike or Giancarlo Stanton, and even Juan Pierre, who's a veteran. He's been around for a while. Have you noticed some veterans kind of pull you aside and give you some good advice? And what have kind of been the biggest things that you've learned in spring training?
Yeah, just being around guys like Stanton and Pierre, just the way they go about their business. We have a lot of young guys in camp, just being able to see how they do it, and they go in and, I mean, they're working hard every day, and that makes us as young guys kind of hungry to go out there and get better and compete with them. So I mean, it's been a great experience for me and for all the other young guys in there, just seeing how they go about their business. And I mean, they're some of the hardest workers I've been with. So it's been a great deal for us.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're talking about this Marlins team, I know a lot has changed. As much as you can tell, just on here, when you go into a meeting in the clubhouse, what is kind of the message that they're sending to you? Because I know it's a very young team. I bet you guys are probably wanting to prove people wrong. I know you're probably not going to be starting off on the team right away, but, non-roster invitee, getting some experience in spring training, just being around the team. What's kind of the message from the head of the organization? Like, is it just play your hearts out? We're coming together. We're building as an organization. Has there been any controversy in spring training that you've noticed, or pretty much what is the new manager telling you guys to go out there and compete every day? What's the message to the team?
It's kind of just stay hungry, and I mean, I think they have a kind of a dangerous combination going on with some of the older guys to show us the way, and then I mean, they got a lot of young guys in there that are hungry and want to get out there and prove themselves. So I think I mean, just seeing what was taking place in spring training is something to definitely be very excited about.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's funny because Mike Redmond, he was actually a manager for you 2 years at different minor league clubs in the Blue Jay system when you were their number 2 prospect. So do you have a good relationship with him? First of all, he led the Class A team when you hit 320, stole almost 40 bases with the Lugnuts. I'm sure that I've seen you guys play a little bit from the Midwest, seen around the Midwest League. And then 2012, he was with the Class A advanced team that you were with as well. So having a relationship with Mike Redmond, do you see it is kind of just a perfect fit moving forward, hopefully eventually making the Marlins roster and him hopefully being there? Do you see him as the right choice for the Marlins? Because it kind of did seem an oddball choice at the time, coming from minor league teams, all of a sudden managing the Miami Marlins. Is he the right guy to lead this team?
Yeah, I strongly believe he is. I mean, he's a guy that's he's been around the game for a while. He knows the game very well, and I mean, I've learned a ton from him, and especially with a team that's a little bit younger and having young guys, he's been able to deal with them, and he was great with both the teams I was with, and I feel like he's going to be really good for this job. Yeah,
and it's funny because you have an interesting relationship with, it seems to be, Christian Yelich, and he is a prospect that a lot of people are talking about and will continue to. You guys might be playing together side by side in Double-A. So what can you tell us that someone else doesn't know about Christian Yelich? Are you guys good friends, your buddies, and are you looking forward to playing potentially alongside with him for the next few years?
Yeah, they kind of once I came in, they got us by each other in the locker room, and they were out there doing all the drills and stuff together. And I mean, we've kind of put together a pretty good relationship between us, and just playing with him in the outfield in the few games I got to in spring training it's fun. He's a talented player. He can run around, cover some ground out in the outfield, and I mean, I think his ability at the plate speaks for itself. But yeah, but just the time I've spent with him, it's been fun. We've been pushing each other, and so I think it's been a good experience for both of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Now going back, I got to speak with a few high school players that are now going to Appalachian State, and just thinking about how far you've gone as a player. Drafted 3rd round, you're a top prospect for the Marlins. You're playing in spring training. Do you ever look back and just kind of realize how far you've made it in baseball? You've got to be excited for how much you have done so far to impact the game. Growing up, I'm sure you probably dreamed of being in the major league. So do you ever look back and just realize, what you're doing right now, or do you kind of have to just stay focused and keep grinding to get to the ultimate goal, which is making the major leagues?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a combination of both. You have to stay focused on what your goals are, what my dreams are, and everything I've wanted to do my whole life. But I mean, at the same time, you have to kind of look back and remember where you came from and see, just remember what you've been through and all that, and not lose sight of that. So I think it's kind of a combination of both, being able to stay humble through it, look back at what you've been through and all the struggles and everything, but at the same time, you got to stay focused and get to where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely, and obviously a great future ahead of you. Just one more question. If you had any, well, first of all, I guess, what has been your best baseball experience? I mean, the draft